Like, I think that we're living this digital era where we think that social media is like such an important place. It's not. It's not. Again, it's a good space, but it's not reality.
Hi there.
Hey there,
I'm Eric.
I'm Christian.
I like to surprise him.
I'm surprised.
This is the Pedersen show. Welcome to your show.
Yes, in today's show, we're going to be talking to Zane Landin.
Yes.
He's originally from California, but he recently moved to Washington, D.C. He's a mental health and disability advocate, queer rights activist, entrepreneur, and positive change maker.
Yes.
He's the founder of Positive Vibes magazine, a digital magazine dedicated to telling authentic stories about mental health, wellness, and inspiration.
So I'm going to talk to him about body positivity, mental health in social media, because since we run a popular page called Pedersen on Instagram, we do a lot of people feeling rejected or negative comments, or the pressure of social media to how many likes I'm gonna get, how many hate messages I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna discuss to him about that. I think for he'd be a perfect person to talk about this situation, these topics.
Very interesting topic.
So check it out.
Yeah.
Hello Zane, how are you?
Hey Zane.
Good. How are you both doing?
We're good.
Not bad.
Happy to have you here.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Because our page bears an excess, it's dedicated to body positivity. We wanted to focus today's episode on body positivity and mental health with special features with social media.
Mm-hmm.
So what does body positivity mean to you?
I think body positivity to me means acknowledging that your body exists and acknowledging every single aspect of your body. If it's positive, if it's negative, if it's neutral, like however you feel about your body, addressing it and seeing how you can see the positive of it. And I like that you're addressing social media, because I do think that social media is kind of accessible for body shaming and body negativity.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I've always known that, but I think in the past month, social media has been a huge trigger for my body. And so I have had to learn to limit my social media consumption. And it's not even just how people present themselves, it's the comments that people make about people's bodies. And even if it's just people existing, people feel the need to comment however they want on someone's body, whatever it is, and it's usually uncalled for. And I know that body positivity is about, accepting your own body, but there is a time where like that stuff does get to you. And I know that there are a lot of people that have the confidence that doesn't get to them, but for me, it's just not the case. Even for comments online that aren't about me, if it's about someone that has a similar body type, it does affect me. And I think that people have to realize that body positivity is a journey, and it's not just like a one-point destination. Like, it's completely a journey that's going to go up and down. And so just because you feel triggered about your body, that doesn't mean you're still not on a body positive journey to body acceptance or body neutrality. It's actually probably, a good thing. Not a good thing that you're triggered, but it's something good to acknowledge that you're feeling this way for a certain reason. And it's okay though, because those feelings are going to happen. And if you're triggered, it's something to think about, if you should lessen your social media consumption, or if you should talk to a therapist, or if you should talk to someone in your family, whatever it is that can help you feel better about yourself. You don't have to do it by yourself all the time.
Very true. And ironically, sometimes people do with a good intention, but they have no idea they're actually doing the opposite.
Very true.
Like I had years ago, Bear 401. Still exists Bear 401, I don't know.
Yeah.
The guy said, "Oh, my belly is so big, I should lose weight, should watch my health." I was thinking, I don't know this guy. Why he's messaging me to give suggestion about my lifestyle?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even know what I do, why it's going on. So I found very, from what was a kind of good intention, but actually wasn't, because why are you telling me that? I know I have a belly, I can tell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need him to tell me that, but the advices were so, but you don't know me.
Uncalled for, I think.
Yeah, and I think that when I do see stuff like that online, and like you said, they probably have good intentions, but at the end of the day, what they're looking at is your body and not really your health. Because how do they know what your health style is? How do they know what your lifestyle is at home? So when I see people address people's health, I have to I have to pause on that because you really don't know someone's lifestyle. And even if you show your lifestyle online, you're giving them probably a very small percentage of what you actually do, the foods you eat, and the steps you take to live a healthier lifestyle. So I don't really like those kind of comments. I get where they're coming from, but they don't really understand your lifestyle, which means that they're really coming for just how you look, which is not body positivity, and it's not really what they're thinking.
And also, we hear a lot in success the term enough is like, I'm not a bad enough, I'm not a chubby enough, I'm not a chaser enough. Because many pages, apparently, people submit pictures. Ironically, I never submit pictures.
Yeah.
I didn't have time for that. But when people submit, they already expect a rejection from us already.
Yeah, we get a lot of comments from, okay, it says bears in excess, but that doesn't mean you have to be a bear to be featured.
Mm-hmm.
But we get quite a lot of comments from people saying, I know I'm not a bear.
Mm-hmm. Not bad enough, not a chubby enough. If you don't want to accept me, understand. They already approach us negativity about
themselves.
They're going to be rejected already anyway. So
probably they're used to it from other sites.
Yeah, it is, and I think that it's great that there's communities and spaces dedicated to bears or otters or whatever type of body size there is. I do think sometimes it can be restrictive because of that reason, where someone doesn't feel included because of that. Because if you're going to go on the definition of a bear, I'm not going to be one because I'm not hairy. I'm not traditionally hairy as much as a traditional bear is, so I'm not going to be included in these spaces. And I felt that way. Was it because I physically felt that way, or if I was kind of creating my own self-fulfilling prophecy that I wasn't going to be accepted in those places? I don't know. But, I've never really fully 100% been comfortable calling myself a bear because of those reasons. And so it can be restrictive. And so I love when there's pages and people saying, well, that's just kind of a descriptor, but we all have beautiful bodies we all can share. Doesn't really matter, Yeah,
because in the end, we always believe that it's all relative. Yeah. Even the concept of a bear, for us, there's the stereotype concept of a bear, but honestly, we know guys, they have a body of a bear, the stereotype, but they're not bears at all.
Yeah, they don't consider themselves a bear. Or the opposite. They're more like a twink, let's say, but they have the bear mentality.
So it's very interesting to say. So I don't think I'm going to say you're a bear, not a bear. If you think you're a bear, it's fine. If you're happy, if you belong, it's fine. You can't tell no to the person because of the body type. It's so relative.
Definitely.
That's tricky. Yes. Guys, I don't think I'm bad enough. So don't worry. It's not a big deal.
I was going to quickly say that, a lot of bear spaces and body inclusive spaces need to kind of have that mentality more, because unfortunately that's not always the case. And that's sometimes where you go to bear events and you see a specific body type, and you may even see only a certain amount of races where it's not inclusive of all races. So I think that mentality needs to carry over as well.
And I think the internet creates monsters. There's good things about the internet, but sometimes they create these monsters of, for example, something we did in the beginning, our page was ranking the top 10 most liked pictures, but they realized it was a mistake because the person who didn't have so many likes and might feel, so I'm ugly, I'm not worth, so what I'm going to do. So we stopped doing that. This kind of thing, or we don't compare. Some people ask sometimes, my post had the less likes, but you don't, honestly, I don't even count. I don't even check how many likes he had, because I don't think that's the point. The point is being there, participate, to celebrate yourself, but if you have 10 or 200, it's relative.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, and then I think also that's how people are going to measure like how they feel about their body, is if they look at someone's post that has 1,000 likes, they look at their body post and it has 10 likes, their body is less valuable. That's how I think that they might see it. And even when I share sometimes photos of my body online and I see it didn't get enough traction or got more traction than I thought, that's where I feel validated, but it shouldn't be that way. And that's where I think it can be kind of dangerous.
Yeah, because can be addictive, and you start believing of something, but is that really the case? Or maybe it's weird that when I started this journey here online years ago, I thought before social media actually, uh, seeing that the same guy is telling how wonderful I am, the same guy telling the other guy the same thing. So doesn't mean it's necessarily me. It's the state of mind. I guess they go. I know these guys to everybody. Oh, you're amazing. Oh my God, I need you. But they said the same to me too. So he need me. He needs him too. So maybe not totally me.
True.
It's just
Yeah.
it's very weird.
Yeah. When and why did your interest in advocacy of body positivity and mental health come about?
Interesting. I wouldn't say that I was necessarily a body positivity advocate until recently. My entire journey or my entire life has always been kind of stemmed in mental health. I've always, struggled with mental health. I can't really remember a day in my life where I didn't. Like ever since I was a kid, I always had pretty uncontrollable anger or levels of depression, and it still happens today. And I think sometimes people don't understand that. I think sometimes people have to find a reason for why you feel a certain way, and it's just not always simple, especially when you are diagnosed, like I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. It's not as simple as finding the root of your sadness and addressing it. That I think is the goal, and you want that because it's like you can actually tackle it yourself. But sometimes I just am feeling bad. Sometimes I'm just feeling depressed. And I realized that, a lot of those feelings of depression were rooted in my body. And so like my entire life, I always felt uncomfortable with my body, which I think a lot of people who are bigger can say. But, I went to a school where so many kids were skinnier, and I just always felt bad about myself, especially when I would receive comments all the time from people. And there was a time where it didn't affect me as much, but it was always still in the back of my mind, which is what I think some people have to understand about body issues. It's kind of like your shadow. That's how I see it, is that it's always there. It's always behind you. And even sometimes the more you appreciate yourself, it's still behind you and it's still kind of hanging on to you. And so that's how I kind of see my body issues. And interesting, I didn't consider myself a body positivity advocate until recently because I wanted to kind of just share my body more. And so I did like my first professional photo shoot with a body positivity photographer. And that was the first time I felt kind of empowered in my body. I always felt okay taking pictures, but I actually felt empowered and excited to share my body and surprised at how it looked. And then after, that's where I kind of became more vocal about body issues and body dysmorphia, a lot of things that I wasn't really vocal about before. Even though I carried body issues for a long time, I actually felt comfortable talking about it now because I felt a little bit more comfortable in my body, if that makes sense.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it is. So we read that you recently lost over 70 pounds.
Yeah.
Why and how did you do it? Was it a health choice or a personal issue?
Well, at this point, it's not 70 pounds. I've definitely gained some weight back, and I've kind of, I'll be honest, just kind of gone back to the lifestyle that I was before I started the diet. Because the diet itself, I'll explain, it was like this specific plan called Optavia. And it was like a specific diet plan. You had to have 5 fuelings, which are like little snacks, and you cook your own meals. So the diet really changed my life in so many ways because, for one, the first thing was I had to take ownership of what I was eating more. I was really in control of what I was putting in my body. I was cooking those meals, and I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to cook because my mom was always the cook in the family, and so I never had the chance to. That changed everything because I absolutely love cooking now a lot. I can't even imagine my life without doing it because it's just a fun thing to do. But I did it because my friend that was on the plan, she had really good success. And in her entire family, they've always had, problems with losing weight. And so I decided to do it. And it wasn't a health reason where I felt like I had to do it, but it was definitely getting there because I had trouble walking. And so I remember when I would probably walk for 2 to 3 minutes and my shins would be burning. And I kind of had to tell myself, I can't be letting my body prevent me from doing things because of that. Because I physically felt unable, I didn't want to go to things. I didn't want to go out to things. I didn't want to burden people by being the slowest one. I also just didn't want people to see how I looked. And I'm kind of slowly getting into that mentality again. And so I'm going to try my best to get back on the plan. But it's not just about losing weight. I just want to eat healthier again. It does make me feel better. And so, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. But it was hard to do, but it definitely changed my life in a lot of things with health and cooking. So that's how I was able to do it.
It's very challenging because even me being fat for many years, I remember looking back, I always been bigger than your normal, let's say.
Yeah.
But since I moved to Canada, I got even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we first met 23 years ago, we were the same size.
To his side, not my side.
Yeah.
And all the stress, the immigration, all the process of moving out the country, everything was stress. So I always have this pressure of lose weight. His parents always telling us to lose weight. They bought even these cookies for us. They're so disgusting.
Yeah.
And I think that you don't have to go like 0 to 100. I think a reason why a lot of people, it's hard for them to lose weight or maintain that lifestyle is because they go in way too hard, way too quickly. I think that they should try their best to ease into this new lifestyle because that's what it is. It's a lifestyle. So it's not something you should rush into. I see a lot of people that will not do really anything and then go to the gym 5 days a week the next week. It's probably not going to work. For some people maybe that's what they need. But for some, that is the formula for burnout. And that is too difficult. And even myself, I was like, next week I should go to the gym every morning. No, I'm not going to do that because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to burn myself out and I'm just going to stop.
Go first 2 days, the third day, forget about,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also I think that there's a lot of flexibility. I think a lot of people think, like healthy is boring or eating healthy is boring. There are so many creative ways that you can eat healthy, and there's so many different types of vegetables and fruits, and it's really just about in moderation. And so it's really about what works for you and having that balanced diet. But there's a lot of options. It doesn't mean that you have to give up everything. Again, it's also about, I think that, when you're bigger, you have this negative relationship to food that you're at fault for how you are, and it's your fault, and you need to limit what you're eating and how much you're eating. Sure, maybe you can be eating less if you're overeating, because I tend to be an overeater, but I don't think you should create this negative relationship with food. I think that's a huge issue, and a lot of people do have that.
Yes, and also do for yourself, not because the others telling you
That's
to,
very true.
or the pressuring you to, or people. My mother, ironically, said before, if I didn't lose weight, I might lose him.
Mm-hmm.
You're laughing because actually it would be the opposite. I guess if I lose weight,
if you lost too much weight,
then
I wouldn't probably be as excited.
It was funny that when she said that, I said it's not really the case, but these situations, people talk to me blaming or the stereotype thing about me being big because I ate too much, and I think no, it's not really the truth. Remember the elevator years ago that Chandler mentioned, if I keep eating a lot of cookies, I'm gonna end up like you, because he thinks because I ate cookies apparently I gain weight. I think there's nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, that kind of pressure that even when I have this health thing 2 years ago, some people thought it was about, I had that because of my weight or my health.
To do with that.
There's nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So this one, the first thing was, his weight. That's why you got that. So, no, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people throw assumptions about people's health when, again, you're just looking at their body. Like, I mean, you want to admit that? I wish you would just admit you're just looking at their body. You don't know anything about their history. You don't know anything about what their health conditions are. And frankly, it's really none of one's business. I just think social media, people feel entitled to their own opinion, and that their own opinion is more important than someone else and their livelihood. And it's kind of frustrating. Like it's kind of like, I like that social media has been empowering, but goodness, there are people that take advantage of that and will just put other people down to elevate their own brand, when I just think that's such a sad thing to do. And I wish people would call it out more. I think we're seeing a lot more people call out body shaming, but geez, there's still a whole nest where that's not happening, where I still see a lot of body shaming, more than I can handle myself personally. So that's not a good thing.
Yeah, once in a while you see comments on by success.
And we remove them.
We remove it, but we see sometimes, oh my God, why he's saying that? Why that's going on? Why is that necessary? If you don't like it, move on.
Yeah, I was always taught by my parents, like, if you don't have anything positive to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, okay.
I firmly believe that, that if you are going to spend the time, like the time that you have, we don't have a lot of time, you're going to spend that time commenting something negative about someone's body. It's kind of cliche, but I think you should really look in the mirror. And I don't want anyone to experience body issues, but when I see people saying body shaming stuff online, it's like, you probably should look at yourself, because you're probably experiencing some body issues, and it's not fair for you to put that on someone else. Like, it's just ridiculous. That's how I see it when I see people doing that. I think that they are living sad lives, and I hope the best, because they shouldn't be doing that, and that's clearly not helping them. They might think it is, but I think it's just putting them in like a low, like an even more depressed state. 'Cause I don't know how you can feel good about yourself doing that. But maybe I'm wrong, and there are a lot of people that are like that.
So how do you deal with your body size before your weight loss in terms of posting pics on social media?
I guess what I would say is I really did not post pictures of my body before the weight loss. But also, again, I just never really wanted to show my body. But it's interesting because, when I did feel comfortable is when I did that photo shoot with that photographer. That was like in November, December. And then 2 months later, as I decided to lose the weight. I wish I gave myself a period of what it was like where I was accepting my body and it was the same body type. Would I have done it more? Maybe. Because I was actually really excited to do that. And I don't want people to think that, that photo shoot was a reminder for me to start losing weight. No, that was just kind of how it was. I actually was really happy with the photo shoot. And again, I never felt more excited about my body. When you look at that post I posted, I put like 5 to 6 paragraphs. It was probably overkill for a social media post, but it was such an empowering moment that I really wanted to really capture in the description how I was really feeling about it. And it was definitely a lot, but wow, there's a lot that you go through when it comes to your body. Everyone, I think, experiences body issues at some point, but it's harder when you experience it all the time. So
now that you gained some weight back, so how do you feel now?
I feel okay. Like I'm still happy with how I look, how my face looks, everything, but I'm starting to feel a little slower. And so that is mainly the reason why I want to start losing weight again. I don't think it has anything to do with how I look, maybe a little, because honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, I question myself because like I go in the office 2 days a week. And when I came back after winter break, I was like, I really don't want to go in the office. I don't think that had anything to do with me not wanting to go in the office. I think it was more like subconsciously I was starting to kind of dislike my body again. And I don't think it's a weight thing either. I think it's just I need to figure out how to feel better about my body again. I don't know what that means. If it's taking pictures more, sharing it with my partner, seeing what he thinks, starting to believe what people say. Because I was, I look up and I see like what body dysmorphia is. And I think some people don't understand, like, if someone compliments your body all day, you can get 500 positive comments and you still don't believe it. Yeah, because if you look at what one of the body dysmorphia symptoms is, yes, you're like, you might be giving comments, but you don't believe it because that's what it is. And so what's interesting is even when I was losing weight and I lost a ton of weight, I couldn't really see the difference in myself. I had to look at physical pictures to do that. And even looking at myself now, I still think I'm even bigger than I was before, but I'm 100% not. And so it is kind of hard.
It is. Many guys send pictures. They also have body dysmorphia, they mention that, and then if you say, "Oh, you look actually nice, very hot, everything," no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
They don't believe it.
Definitely.
It's tough. If more like they see sometimes, no, they're not right.
Yeah.
It's tough. But maybe, like you said, I think maybe taking pictures of yourself, share with your partners, develop acceptance of your body. Like, oh, I like it. Might not be the healthiest way or the average thing, but at least I'm happy.
Hmm.
Do you think there was a change regarding how you post pics of yourself after you lost the weight?
Yeah. I probably would. I don't want to say it was more revealing. No. But it was more like I had no problem taking pictures of myself in a tank top and posting it. I would not do that before. Never. I think because I liked the way I looked. Yeah. I think it's kind of a sad thing to say, though. And I know that some people don't see that as body positivity, but I do, though. Because I think if you're going to actively do something about your body, whatever it is, if it's join a support group or if it's eating more, because people who are gainers and they want to feel better about their body, they do that. If you're actively doing something in a healthy way to address your body issues, I think that that's okay. That's body positivity. So to me, it is kind of a weight thing sometimes that, I do want to be smaller. Doesn't mean I hate myself. Doesn't mean I hate other bigger people. Trust me, that's completely the opposite. And it's interesting some of the attitudes I would get after I lost weight. Not even just people being nicer to me, but some of the attitudes I get from my fellow body positivity people of asking me certain questions if I find bigger people repulsive now. I hated that question. Someone asked me that and I was like, I can't believe you just asked that question. Like, for one, I'm so big, for one. And two, why would losing weight change that? Like, it's just interesting. Like, you have this perception of losing weight that I am not who I am anymore, that I have just a terrible attitude towards bigger people just because I've lost weight. Especially since I'm attracted to bigger people, my partner's bigger. And so that would never change. So it's interesting some of the attitudes you get after you lose weight. Yeah. And even what's interesting is like, even when I felt confident, sometimes people said certain things. So I think it was always interesting. It's like my whole life, I've never been confident in my body. Now I'm confident. You have to say something. Like, I'd be like, yeah, I look great. And someone would say, well, I mean, you look okay. I'm like, what's the point in saying that? Like, I want to know what your goal was saying that to me right now. When you've urged me to lose weight, I did it. I feel better now. Now you want to tell me that I don't look as good. I don't know what your goal is saying that. And so, oh my goodness, it's just interesting how many mixed responses you get from losing weight. It's good, it's bad, it's ugly sometimes, and I don't understand it. And it's just like, I don't know what the goal is of body positivity if you wanted to make me feel worse about my body when I lost the weight. Is it because I wasn't big like you wanted me to be anymore? Like, what is, it's just it's too much with people, which is why I try not to focus on what people say when it comes to my body because of that reason. It's too confusing. Social media does not make sense at all. Like, there's just so many things that people feel they have to do about their body. And it's like, you're never going to please anyone. So if you're doing it for someone else, it's nice that someone can be an inspiration for you, but you have to do it for yourself. And I never even thought of it that way when you both said that. It's true though. Like, when I decided to lose weight, I actually decided to do it for myself. Because of course I had people mention that I should do that. But I never did. But it was like something I actually decided to do. I wanted to take ownership of it. And actually, that probably made the whole difference. I never even realized that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very interesting how things work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's surprising that guy, he went to Spike Says, actually. Somebody was doing Pride a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was shirtless, his skin was out, and some people said some nasty things from him. It wasn't very success, it was not this sound, but house itself. Mm-hmm. So he was so shocked and traumatized to hear those things. Because, now I lost weight, now I'm a bad thing.
Yeah.
So it's very...
You have to be careful what you say to other people.
Yeah. I was even going to say what's interesting is, when I think sometimes also when people talk about body issues, it's like, it's not just about a certain body type. Because I think that some people go into losing weight to get this ideal body to feel better about themselves. And you kind of hear that that's just not the case for a lot of people, because there was a lot of internal issues, and it probably may not just have been about your body, may have been a lot of other mental issues that you weren't addressing. And so, even when I lost weight, sure, I was happy about certain things, but when I did another photo shoot, after I lost all that weight, I probably was more critical of myself this time around, because I did so much work that there were certain areas I wasn't liking. I put more emphasis in them than I did before, because I was harder on myself, because I was like, I shouldn't be looking like this. So it's interesting, like, we think that we do certain things to help our body, but we're even more critical afterwards, because we think that we should be looking a certain way, when it's like it's like I wasn't even appreciating how I looked before in a way. So it was interesting.
Yeah, sometimes it's never ending thing.
Yeah.
You lose from even the gainers. The gainers, I notice many of them, for more they gain, more they want to gain. So it's never gonna finish.
No.
Yeah.
It's insane.
The main goal behind Bears in Excess is to give a place for people to feel good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We've featured you on our page before. What made you decide to submit that first picture? Were you nervous about people's reactions?
I'm trying to remember the first photo I submitted.
Gee.
I was honestly, okay. Let me think. I was honestly excited. Yeah, I think I was a little nervous. Not really. I actually think the photo I was nervous about was when I sent the photo of me in the jockstrap. That was it. That was the only one I was nervous about. Mostly because I was just like, how are people going to receive this? How are people going to talk about it? Like, are people in my job going to see it? Probably not. But so that was the only thing I was nervous about. No, I was honestly excited, because again, at the time where, again, I had those photos, I was in this place where I was very excited to share it. And I still am. Yeah. So I don't know. I was in a good place where I was like, I really didn't care what the comments I was going to receive, because I was really confident in myself. Right now, I think I'd be a little more nervous, because I feel like I'm in a little more of a sensitive place, because like you said, it's a journey. Sometimes you're confident, sometimes you're not as much. And so, but I still have to remind myself that at least I took that first step. I still think I did that. No matter how I feel, I still had the confidence to do it at that point, and to remember that.
Yeah. And also, I think there's taste for everything. So sometimes even the guy is so negative about his body, I say there'll be always somebody's gonna like you. It's not it's not
sure.
like a anonymous thing. Everybody's gonna hate your body. No, that's not gonna happen. Somebody will like it. So sometimes the quality is better than quantity. I prefer 10 people that really mean it, say they like it, than 100. They say it, but doesn't mean they necessarily like it. That's really meaning that. So it's very interesting relation.
Yeah.
I do think that, if you're existing and living as a person right now, that your body is, someone does like it if you exist. That's how I think, no matter what. And so that's a reminder for myself that no matter how I feel or how someone else feels, you existing is what's beautiful, and there's someone out there that's going to like it.
How do you deal with negative comments, or if eventually there is a negative reaction from someone?
Yeah, I have received negative reactions from some people, and it was never on like my page. It was like just what people saw. Like right away when people would see my photo, they would say, "Oh, here's a health plan that you should go on." I'm like, well, I'm already on one. There's that. And two, like, you don't know my lifestyle. I may be doing everything that you want me to do. And again, it's none of your business. I understand that some people are trying to make money. They're going to do what they got to do. But do a little research and look into my posts. I talk about my health, my health journey already. So there's that. And then even when I said, I want to start talking about fitness and losing weight, people would not take me seriously. I had a couple of comments saying, why in the world should you be able to talk about fitness? What the heck do you know? I'm like, well, just again, tell me you're just looking at my body, okay? Because I may not be a fitness expert, but I want to talk about how I've lost weight and what's worked for me. What's wrong with that? And so, yeah, it's I don't really get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me that you're going to judge what I know and what I can share my experience on with that. So I have received negative comments, and it does kind of it does affect me a little bit, but honestly, I'm just like, you're just coming from kind of an immature place, and it's giving me good clarity that I shouldn't be in that space. So unless I've never been in a place where it was really negative, thank goodness. I'm glad that nobody has said anything to my face, but at this point I'm really confident to say I'm not dealing with that. I'll tell you why to your face if you're gonna say something to me. But at this point, I don't really care too much about it. And if I see something negative, I'll just delete it on social media because I don't need to be in that energy.
True. It's funny, a year ago, I posted this. He was the host of Valentine's, on a boyfriend. And then I posted his video on TikTok. That was my mistake. Somehow that video fell off in an area so negative, or he got a negative comments, reactions. It was insane. Everybody saying totally mean things to him because he was chubby. He was showing his belly, and wasn't. Luckily, he was used to that, so he didn't get surprised or anything. But for another person, it was disturbing, the kind of things they said. And if you responded to somebody, and they were so mean back, it's like, wow, there's no way that. Then I remove it. Okay, forgot about it. It's no worth.
Yeah.
But it's insane where you fall. If it's a bad idea, can be really insane. If a person is not prepared, let's say, his mind might go crazy, because that's what I compare also social media, mental health, because those things might make you go crazy, because
definitely
those comments, those things, like, oh my God, I'm never gonna show myself again.
Yep. No, 100%. And also the sad thing about a lot of these comments, and I wish people would look at it this way, is that they're just so insignificant to what people actually think, like in real life. And people are just trying to have their little moment of fame. And and they do that by looking at what's popular. Like, they conform to that. Because think about it. If you have a video where people are making fun of someone, they're going to make fun of that person because they think it's going to give them the traction that they want. That is such a sad reality. But I know a lot of people that do that. Well, I don't know them personally, but I know they're doing that. You know, and that's why sometimes you'll see comments where it's like, why are people saying this? Those aren't as popular. So it's like, of course, I see that this is trending. I got to make my little joke about their body because that's what people are liking. Just get a life. That sounds so mean, but just get a life. Get something else that's going to give you some purpose in life, because that is not it, in my opinion. And also, I do want to say that, you know, sometimes I think body positivity can be a little bit, I wish there was a little more to it, because I see a lot of body positivity accounts that I'm glad they claim that they're body positive. I just wish that they would be more advocates like they say they are, or talk about body positivity in a more vulnerable way. They don't have to be vulnerable about their own body, but I wish they would talk about body image and body positivity more than just posting a shirtless picture. And again, can be a lot for someone, I understand, but I wish there was more conversations happening about it, because a lot of the stuff I see about body positivity, I'm not seeing in-depth conversations more about it as much as I would want to. And I'm one to talk, because I don't post a lot about body image either, but I want to, though, a lot more.
Yeah, also because I guess people think it's just a picture is gonna say more. What's a picture? But sometimes just a picture doesn't say much.
True.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
So social media is a wild place where people feel free to comment or criticize on others freely without consequence. Some guys we have featured have told us that they've been shamed and gotten rude comments. What would you tell someone who has received negative feedback, and what should they do to deal with their mental health?
Oh gosh, that's such a hard one.
I know, right? We did good.
No, it's it is difficult, and I'm just actually kind of picturing myself in that situation and what I would want. Because also, like, I think sometimes seeking that negativity is like addicting. That sometimes when I see like a negative comment about someone's body, I'll have anxiety and I will want to look at it more. It's kind of weird, like, but it is kind of sad. And I think it's also my anxiety of wanting to find something where that's not happening. But I'm seeing it a lot more. So it's like I become anxious and a little addictive of wanting to see the comments. It doesn't sound like it makes any sense at all. But that is actually what happens with me. And so sometimes what I need to do is, if I'm seeing stuff like that, well, honestly, delete the comments, block them. I'm like, I don't care who it is, block them because they shouldn't be doing that. Maybe if it's someone you know personally, you can unblock them later, have a conversation with them. But again, protect your energy and you do what you have to do as long as you're not like really hurting someone. But you have to do what you got to do to protect yourself. And so if you got to do that, you need to do that. And then sometimes it's like, just sign out of social media. Like, I think that we're living this digital era where we think that social media is like such an important place. It's not. It's not. Again, it's a good space, but it's not reality. And so there's nothing wrong with you being unplugged for social media for a day or two, or you just get rid of your accounts. You don't need to be on social media. It's okay if you're not. Again, a lot of talk from me because I would feel uncomfortable not being on social media too, but it's also kind of the weird thing about being a Generation Z, because a lot of us were kind of raised somewhat on social media, and so it feels so much like part of the human experience for Gen Z folks, which is why when I see like people who are from the older generations that are like, oh, I don't care about social media, I don't care about negative comments, I'm like, that's like, to me, that's so great to see. Like, that's so attractive, because it is a little more difficult for the younger generation because we think we're so dependent on social media. And so those are some things I would recommend. And I would recommend, of course, professional mental health help. Like, if it's impacting you so much that it's hindering your work, your relationships, yeah, I would contact someone. And I've even contacted a hotline because I was feeling so anxious about my body. I was worried I was going to hurt myself. And so there's so many different spaces. There's group therapies, there's group sessions, there's organizations that help with eating disorders and body dysmorphia. There's so many resources out there. I just think a lot of people feel uncomfortable reaching out. And I think sometimes it's about ignoring those thoughts and just reach out anyways. I know you're worried that you're going to be judged, but trust me, you won't be. Especially with these organizations, they know exactly the people that they're helping. And people like you are reaching out too. And so I'm not saying that your experience isn't unique. I'm just saying that, a lot of people experience it too, and you don't have to do it by yourself. Kind of like what I said at the beginning.
Yeah, let's realize internet or social media is not everything.
Yeah.
There are other things in life.
Yeah, definitely.
Easy to say, but turn it off, or understand it's just a device. You can close.
Yeah,
Turn it off.
Take a
Bye.
week break or a weekend off.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think is the best time a person should look for professional help?
I don't know if there's ever not a good time to look for professional help. If you can, like, of course, not everybody. I mean, mental health care is not accessible to everybody, and so not everyone can afford it. It's not equitable for everyone. But I do think if you have the means, I think you should invest in professional help. I know that some people will think like, oh, I should be reaching out to someone when I'm feeling really badly about myself or if I'm suicidal. Yeah, but you're at such a sensitive place. You don't know how long it's going to take for you to get an appointment. So if you're at a really dark place and you reach out and it takes you a month or two to get an appointment, you're going to feel so much worse. And so sometimes it's like knowing the signs, like if you're starting to feel a little depressed, maybe it's time to start looking for professional help. But again, I know that not everybody can do that. Some people are scared to do that. But I'd rather someone reach out beforehand than afterward. It might be, I don't want to say too late, but at a place where you feel really bad about yourself or you're engaging in self-harm or thinking about suicide, I'd rather you hopefully can see the signs before and can reach out at that place. I hope that makes sense.
We listened to the podcast that you were on where you were a guest, and you talked about loneliness. Social media can give a sense of belonging. What advice would you give to someone who feels lonely?
Oh, man.
No, you're deep in this episode. You're really...
Yeah, no, it's okay. No, it's just what I would say to someone that's feeling lonely. I think that's hard because, I feel lonely. I'm just going to be honest. Like, I live in Washington, D.C. I've lived here for a year, but I'm still looking for that break. And I think one of the things that can help me with my loneliness is just trying to put myself out there more. It's just so hard to do. I think some people are built to do that. Some people are built to go to a club and just hang out and talk to people. I'm not like that at all. And so I would just tell someone that start small. Like you do have a community somewhere. If it's your job, if it's reaching out to someone at your job or hanging out with someone from work, if that's not the case, because I haven't even done that myself, it's finding online communities. I think that's always helpful too, or finding something you are passionate about and joining a community about that. It may not solve your issues of loneliness, because loneliness is a very hard thing, especially when it comes to social media, especially when you're looking at people's, I'm going to say pseudo lives, because a lot of them are pseudo lives. They're going to be posting the highlights and every single highlight of, of their journey. It can feel like you're missing out. It's like that phenomenon, the FOMO, the fear of missing out. And so you're going to feel even more lonely, because when you're generally looking at social media is when you're by yourself maybe, and you see a lot of exciting things happening. And so again, maybe signing out of social media and just starting small by joining a community or starting a hobby, whatever it is that you think you can do to find like-minded people. I know it's hard though. Like it's hard. I want to acknowledge it's hard. I don't have the solution for that. Eventually, I think you hopefully can find a place where you can step forward from that. And I'm even experiencing that myself.
So you do so many things and you're involved in so many projects.
Yeah.
One is you launched Positive Vibes online magazine. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I launched it from, I was taking a university class when I was a student, and we had to create our own publication. And I decided to actually launch it from the class because I thought I really wanted to see more positivity around mental health. And it was during the era of COVID, and they really weren't talking about mental health in the mainstream media. So I wanted to kind of just take it upon myself to start my own mental health conversation happening. And I know that there were so many. I know there's so many platforms, but I wanted to create one myself and create it on how I wanted it to look. And I also think that a lot of content on mental health is so negative. I understand, because mental health can be a scary, it can be a dark place. And I think that's what a lot of people think about when it comes to mental health, but there's a lot of other stuff that it comes with as well. It comes with a rich history. It comes with a community. It's a new identity of how you are. And so I don't think we should always be looking at mental health as such a negative experience, because if we do, then we're always going to associate mental health with such negativity. And I think if you do that, it just kind of strengthens the stigma where you're not going to reach out for help, because you think of it as such a dark thing and such a dangerous thing, when it's not. It's a very normal thing. I'm not saying it's a very happy thing, but it can be. Some mental health conditions, you might be very elated, be very happy. And so it really just depends. So that is kind of why I started it. It's kind of taken a back burner because I've gotten so busy with my job and the other things I do that I haven't been able to post content on it as much. But from what we did was we were able to just share so many people's stories of their mental health. And people were I was surprised with how vulnerable people were and how willing people were to share their stories. If it was about assault or suicide or violence, whatever it was, and how they were able to transform their lives from what they experienced before to now and what they're doing. It's such a beacon of hope. It's such a great thing to see. And I would love to see more people like that highlighted in the media. It feels like a lot of media is still highlighting such negative things, and so many people, their legacy is something horrible that they did. I wish that we would stop seeing that. I wish you need to, of course, report on that. But I would love to see more people report on positive things, more than what we are seeing already. Because it's happening, just a lot more.
There's many people that are more mental health issues than you think about.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But they're ashamed to mention they do. So if you talk, it helps.
Yeah, definitely.
The people, if he has, maybe I have something. Maybe
Talk
I should
to
work.
a friend, talk to a professional.
Also, the podcast you mentioned about advices. I like what you said about when you ask somebody for advice, how can you talk about it? Because sometimes an advice not be a good thing either.
True.
Oh yeah, I do say that, where you don't have to give your advice. Maybe someone's not really asking for that. Ask them if they want your advice. I think that's the most important thing you can do is if they are sharing something, can I give you some advice? And I've had people ask me, which I'm very happy when people ask me that, because it's like, can I offer some advice? I'm like, yeah, sure. And sometimes before I wouldn't even think about that. I'm like, oh, just tell me. But now I'm like, okay, no, please ask me, because sometimes I just really want to talk about how I'm feeling and I don't want your advice. Not that your advice isn't good. I just don't need it right now. And again, it's no offense to you. Don't take it personal. It has nothing to do with you. It just has to do with, I just need someone to listen to. And so that is so important. So if you can get to that place where you can just, empathetically listen to someone without giving your advice, I think is huge for someone.
Yeah, because sometimes if a person asks for advice, it's not the advice the person want to hear.
Yeah.
But I don't like that. Oh, but you asked for advice.
Actually, no, I didn't.
Or but sometimes people ask for help, and then if you say something they don't like it, then you become the villain in the end because you said something.
True. Honestly, if you ask for advice, you have to kind of be willing to listen to it.
So, any
parting words?
Maybe.
Well, thank you so much again for having me. I love to share my experience with mental health and body image. I guess my parting words is just try your best to be there for someone. Because again, I think this is such a common thing we have to tell people, but you never know what someone else is experiencing with anything, like anyone in your life, whatever you're sharing, even if you're sharing a story you see and you're making fun of it, you have no idea probably what's going on. And so if you're going to share something, do a little research before you share it. Because you never know how someone's life is impacted by what you're sharing. And so there's a lot of things I see. Like I remember there was a huge, there was a big thing about someone's body being shamed a lot online. And then they were having a mental health breakdown. And people were going, we weren't making fun of their mental health. Yeah, of course you weren't. Who does that? That's not the point here. That was not the point. Like you did not get the point at all. It had nothing to do with you making fun of their mental health. You were talking about their body, of course. And that has nothing to do with their mental health, really. And so it's
everything to do with it.
Yeah, it does. And so I was having a big issue with that. Like I had to distance myself a lot from that because I was like, I can't read these. It's making me feel really crappy about my body right now. And just that people were just easily justifying their body shaming because, we're not making fun of their mental health. We know that's an issue. I'm like, no, you don't. It's because you're making fun of someone that's having a mental health breakdown and they're going to see that. You really think that's going to make them feel good? Like, really, that's your contribution right now to this conversation? It was not a good time for me, honestly. And the story's not about me, of course, but I was like, I was really anxious at that time about that whole thing. And so that's why I'm like, whatever you're sharing, however you're engaging online, just please start doing it with empathy and understanding. I even myself personally, I don't ever see how I can ever leave a really negative comment online. Even if it's something I don't like, if it's something that's bad, I just don't have it in me to leave a negative comment. And that is not to boast me and my ego, whatever. It's just I wish people would be like that. Like people have a lot of time on their hands to leave negative comments. And that's what I want people to leave with. Those negative comments are more a reflection on themselves. And that's the sad reality. And I think when they start seeing themselves, let's say, even if it's in a couple of years and they see the kind of the stuff that they left, they're not going to feel good about themselves. And that's kind of a sad reality to face.
Thanks, Zane, for talking to us. Really interesting.
Yes, we really appreciate it.
You can follow his Instagram. His magazine is positivevibemags.com. They have an Instagram too.
Yeah.
I'm going to list their links there in the description. And you can also follow our website, pedersen.com. We have our YouTube channel. We have a channel, another side work,
yes,
t-shirt, and we have me and him.
Or me.
And I have Instagram, Facebook, X, former Twitter. So follow us, like us, ask us a question. Any suggestion of topics, let us know.
Yeah, we're here.
Yes. And the most important is
stay fluffy.